Here we
You,
go.
some people nodding. Great. Okay. All right. And okay, so welcome everyone. We have a good number of people today. Welcome to the Global Chamber Los Angeles Metro Meetup. I see a lot of familiar faces, but for those of you who are joining us for the first time or whom I have not had an opportunity to meet, I am Sarita Jackson, Chair of the Global Chamber Los Angeles Advisory Board, as well as founder of the Global Research Institute of International Trade. So we're so excited to have you here. Just so that you know, when it comes to our Global Chamber Los Angeles Metro Meetup, we meet every Thursday, third Thursday of the month at 10 o'clock Pacific time, usually 10 to 10:55. So just mark your calendars for that. Just get that on your calendar. Our next meetup is the third Thursday in September, September 18th. But I also would like to bring attention to our end of the summer social. I put that in the chat, the end of the summer social, which is scheduled for September 3rd in Torrance. And so this is going to be a great opportunity where we can meet in person, connect, etc. And the whole focus, both of the meetup and the in-person social, is so that we can connect members, the Global Chamber Los Angeles members, as well as connect with the virtual events, connect with other Global Chamber members, but also to share opportunities. So that's what you're going to get here. And today's session will focus just on that, the opportunities to grow your business through procurement, particularly as it pertains to the major sports events that are coming to Los Angeles, such as the 2026 World Cup and the 2028 Summer Olympics. However, before we get into that topic, I want to open the floor to our Executive Director, Doug Brunke.
Thank you so much, Sarita. I'd like to start by just saying Dr. Jackson, to me, epitomizes the greatness of our members from the standpoint of doing global business is hard. It's not easy. So it takes another higher level of activity, of professionalism, of diligence, flexibility, resilience, and we're certainly seeing the need for resilience right now in the world, and creativity and innovation. And so thank you, Sarita, for all that you bring to your business, to your clients, and to Global Chamber every day. We also thank you for bringing our speaker in today, who I'm sure will be fascinating. She's got some great experience, and Dr. Jackson, you've worked with her before, so I look forward to the introduction, looking forward to the conversation. We'll have a little bit of time at the end for a couple little shout outs, and then we'll wrap up. So back to you, Sarita. Thanks for all that you do.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Doug. I really appreciate that. And it's just been a joy, just a real pleasure being a part of the Global, ever since I've joined the Global Chamber, this particular chapter, and chairing the advisory board. So now getting to our speaker, just want to say, we were having a little conversation prior to everyone getting on the call. And I was saying, with my business, with my consulting firm, one part of my revenue model is procurement and, having the time really to go after some of these opportunities. And having said that, one strategy for growing a business is to include procurement as a part of your business model. And these are opportunities to bid on contracts, whether they are at the federal, the state, and the local levels. And for this reason, I'm so excited to have Cristina Espiritu, a longtime colleague and supporter, join us this morning and talk about this opportunity when it comes to procurement. Cristina Espiritu is the founder of Sparkvation Consulting, where she serves as a valuation expert and business strategist for companies, nonprofits, and business owners. She also currently works with PACE, Pacific Asian Consortium in Employment, as part of the procurement team, helping business owners gain knowledge and the skills to succeed in the world of government contracting. And one big project that she's involved in is Procure LA, which was launched by our Los Angeles Mayor, Karen Bass, in partnership with the City of Los Angeles Economic Workforce Development Department, of which we will learn more today. Without further ado, let's welcome Cristina Espiritu.
Well, thank you, Sarita, and good morning, everyone. I'm assuming most of you are in LA. If not, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. So hopefully that covers everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Let me just, okay. All right. Can you see this right? There you go. All right. Okay. Let me see. There you go. First of all, welcome everyone, and thank you, Sarita, and thank you, Doug, for the opportunity to talk about three topics that I love, which is business valuation, procurement, and also the Olympics. Especially, I would say gymnastics and anything to do with diving. So I'm really, really excited about that. But the topic today is winning contracts and how that can help maximize value. And so basically leveraging all the Olympic procurement opportunities and other ones that are happening before then, right? Because we know that the Olympics are not until 2028. All right. So just a couple of things about me. I know, and thank you, Sarita, for the introduction. So, I've been doing this for a little bit over 20 years, doing business valuation, and along with that one strategy on how to maximize value, and then also procurement. So I've been involved in the business world for a while now. I've done a lot of businesses. I am also a business broker, and I'm a UCLA and a Penn State grad. So go Bruins for those of you who are Bruin fans. Just a few things about the agenda. So we're going to talk about just the opportunity in the LA 2028 landscape. And then are you contract ready, right? Because that's the thing. In order to get these contracts, these procurement opportunities, people ask, am I contract ready? What does that even mean? And then third, we're going to see how business value can be maximized through contracts, and then some strategies to win. And I only have a few, like 35 minutes, about 35 minutes. So I'm going to go over things in a very, very broad level. But if you do have any questions later on, feel free to either ask me during this meeting, or we can definitely meet up after. There you go. So first, I just wanted to talk about what's going on before the Olympics. I think there are a lot of major sporting events that are going on and these events really highlight the growing momentum that we're going to be experiencing up until 2028, right? So, for example, next year there will be FIFA World Cup. We cross our fingers. I know that maybe on the news you've heard, oh, will there be FIFA? Will it move? So there's all these things that are kind of like in the pipeline, but so far it seems like it will be here to stay. And then along with that one, we're also gonna have the NBA All-Stars in 2026. There's gonna be Super Bowl, and then the LA 2028 Olympics and Paralympics. And then in between, there are actually a ton of other things that are going on. I think there's like the US Open and just a lot more events, both sporting events and then also ones in entertainment. So as we know, things are going to be very, very busy from now until 2028. And it's been busy for the past several years, right, in preparation for this. But how do these events build business opportunities? So first, like Sarita had mentioned, the whole thing with procurement. Procurement really is a very general term that says that the government or an entity, an organization, buys products and services from business owners, small business owners, medium-sized business owners, from you and I, right? So these events really bring on the procurement visibility. So whether it's going to be new facilities, new venues, services that are needed for each event, they're going to be very, very busy right now. And there has been a lot of activity that has been going on for FIFA, for the World Cup, I would say, since the beginning of this year. And then also something called the supply chain continuity. So if you're preparing for and executing for the events right now, it really shows continuity and builds performance for 2028, if that's really like the goal that you have set in mind. And a lot of business owners that I work with, they're like, oh, we want to be a supplier or a vendor for the Olympics, right? But then if you see some sort of continuity that, or things that you participated in event wise before then it's really good to show some sort of past performance. And then third is just networking and market access. So there are like many events. These many events often involve organizations and resource partners that help support local businesses. So as you see, all these are into the build up to the big event, right? And then just to show you a lot of the opportunities by event type. So first, we know that there's gonna be a lot of venues that will be used throughout these sporting events. So there will be, right now, there are a lot of venue upgrades and construction that are going on. For example, Intuit Dome, that's where they'll have the All-Stars, SoFi Stadium, the World Cup, and then also where the Super Bowl will be. So you'll see a lot of just upgrades that are going on, a lot of construction, and then also hospitality and fan services. So during the day of or days of, there will be concession stands, merchandise, transportation across all these events. And then there will also be event logistics and operations that, maybe if you are an event planner, you can think about, but for like an ordinary person like me who doesn't, I do events, but not to this scale. There are a lot of things that are involved, like staffing, event management, crowd control, and then tech support. And then just to give you an example, when right now we're working with the LA Sports and Entertainment Commission, and I'll talk about that organization later on. So they're actually the organization that handles all the sporting events in LA, aside from the Olympics, because the Olympics is run by LA 28 committee. But the LA Sports and Entertainment Commission, right now, they're doing a lot of procurement for FIFA. And then back in February of this year, they actually gave us 12 industries that they are really keen on getting vendors for. And there are some like, okay, you expect, let's say, audiovisual, catering, and food. But one of the things that I saw that was quite interesting was VIP. So they were looking for hair and makeup for those VIPs that will be coming in, right? So that one, and then also logistics like limo service, chauffeur services, which are expected. And then also supplier development and matchmaking. So these events often, as I mentioned, run by or led by an organization called LASEC, and then also some resource organizations like Procure LA, which I am part of, where what we do is we actually help small business owners get ready for these opportunities. Okay. And so now that we've kind of set the stage for what's going on before LA 2028, I just wanted to just give an overview of what the procurement ecosystem is for the Olympics. So I read the thing, when Paris Olympics had ended, they gave a study. So the biggest thing about the Paris Olympics that they were really keen on was sustainability. What will happen after the games are done? Because usually what happens, as we say, like in the Beijing Olympics, right? They have all these venues and all these, like venues that they had built for the Olympics specifically. But then once everyone leaves, what happens to those? So that's one thing that they did not want to happen to the Paris Olympics and then also to the LA Olympics. So basically, it's more like building sustainability and making sure that venues and all those billions of dollars that have been used to host people, to build up to the Olympics, that it doesn't get wasted. So I think I can't remember the exact number, but they talked about the Paris Olympics and they talked about, let's say, if it was couple of $billion that they had earned during the Olympics through sponsorships and stuff like that. The um the the effect afterwards is actually more multifold, right? Because a lot of those businesses are now set up. Now they have the past performance, they have the Olympics under their belt, that it's actually set up all these businesses for more of a legacy and longevity, past the Paris Olympics. So that's what's expected to go on with LA 2028, right? Billions of contracts that are going to be across industries. Right now, they're doing a lot of construction. They're doing, and if you're in LA, they're doing a lot of, let's say, the people mover stuff in the airports, and even outside of LA. Like I'm in Orange County, and we're building really close to where I live is OZ Vibe, which is of their version of LA Live. And that is done in order to help tourism go through, go past LA, go past Long Beach, which is also a venue of a lot of these Olympic Games, and then really attract them to Orange County, right? So it's really quite interesting, just the composition of the businesses and the organizations that are going to be part of it, and then inclusion of small minority women-owned businesses, and then that's when we see the central role of LA 2028, and then also the partner organizations, like the LASEC. Okay. And then just like, a lot of key agencies and partners that are involved in this through across the board. So we have the LA 2028 Organizing Committee, which is the local Olympic committee, right? But then it goes up to the actual World Olympic Committee. So it goes up in hierarchy and structure. And then we have the city of LA. So for example, a lot of like Procure LA, which is what we're doing right now with the mayor's office, they're really keen on making sure that the local businesses and the local, like the legacy businesses in LA actually benefit from these types of events. And then we have, I would say, transportation related agencies like the LA Metro. So one of the big things with the Olympics is that they are keen on making it carless. So the LA Metro, Metrolink, and stuff like that are going to play a big role. So I don't know how far they are on being carless. However, this is like the big, for you, for many of us who are in LA, the car is, very, very integral, right? So the idea of being carless, is something that I don't know. I think that worries a lot of us, and like, will it really happen? But they're doing and they're making strides to making sure that that even a lot of the tourists that coming into LA, can use these transportation systems more seamlessly. And then I mentioned the LA SEC Commission, so they're the ones that are in charge of all the sporting events aside from the Olympics. And what they do is and I'll talk about it a little bit later, but they have a program called LA Biz Connect, where they have cohorts of businesses that they, I would say, groom and vet in order for them, let's say, to pull in from this type of businesses when they're ready to work on FIFA. Because right now they're working on the most recent, the most I would say the one that's coming up fairly soon, which is the one in 2026. And then also other partners. So for example, Lawa is the airport, County of LA, Primes. And when we talk about Primes, these are the big companies that will be getting a lot of the contracting opportunities, and most of them are in construction. And then tier one contractors, which I would say very similar to Primes. They work closely with the Primes, with the prime contractors. So just kind of like also the landscape on the contract status. Some of them have already been awarded. For example, there are major construction awards that have been given out already, early design projects. However, many are still open. As I had mentioned, right now there's an expression of interest that's coming out from LASEC across the 12 industries that they're actually looking on vetting for those vendors, right? So anything from operations, technology, hospitality, food is a big thing, gifting is also a big thing, and then cultural programming. So my tip when someone asks me how do I get involved is that look at LASEC, look at their website, see if your business fits within those industries, right? And then look for subcontracting opportunities. So subcontracting opportunities are those where let's say you have a big company that had bid on, let's say, a marketing contract, right? However, that marketing contract will require different portions. For example, they need one for social media, they need one for digital marketing, let's say PR. So what they will do is they will typically look for subcontractors or vendors for each one of those specific industries that they're looking for or services. Um, and then just a couple of major players that are connecting businesses with the opportunities. So buyers are the ones that typically they're comprised of government entities, the sport venues, and then the prime contractors. So an example is LAWA. LAWA is the airport, and they oversee billions of contracts at LAX and Van Nuys. So they're the ones like, hey, for example, the People Mover, this little metro train that I think they're doing some extension project right now. So right now they're overseeing that. And then the categories that they're looking for have been construction, and then later on they'll look at concessions, maintenance, and then technology. And then they usually have, and people, another thing that people ask me is that where do you find these opportunities? And these opportunities are found through procurement portals such as LAWA, the airport portal. So that's one major player, right? So you have the buyers, and this is also another type of buyers, which are the sports teams and leagues. So for example, right now we're working through LASCC, we're working with the Lakers on some of the needs that they have with regards to vendors, right? So these are professional teams and venues, and they act as direct buyers. Direct buyers are also they partner up with an organization that can help vet vendors. So some of their contract areas may include game day operations, concessions, and then also long-term vendor services. Okay, so you have the buyers, then you have a subset of the buyers, which are the professional teams, and then you have these organizations that bridge the businesses and the buyers. One example, as I had mentioned, is the LASEC, the Sports and Entertainment Commission. And so what they do is they do some sort of matchmaking. They do the outreach. They say, okay, what are the businesses that we are looking for in specific industries? Let's go and vet them. Let's make sure that they're contract ready. And so they have a pool to actually take from once a prime or like a sports league does an outreach to them. And then just to give you an example, yesterday I was talking to the head of the LASCC Sports Connect. So right now, aside from the sports teams that are reaching out to them, a lot of the entertainment companies are also reaching out to them as well, like Paramount and then Sony, with regards to some of the vendors that they would be needing in the next few years. Either it's directly connected to the event or not, right? So either it's just like a one-off thing for, let's say, the FIFA or like the Super Bowl, or the day-to-day things that they would need as part of their operations. So these are the ones that connect sports venues and to local businesses through, as I mentioned, matchmaking and then networking events. So then another major player would be resource partners. So Procure LA, which is what I'm part of, is considered a resource partner. So these are the agencies or the organizations that prepare small businesses to be contract ready. And later on, we'll talk about what contract ready means. And then some examples include Procure LA, the SBA, which many of us know about, any of your local chambers, and then also some other programs. So, for example, right now, aside from Procure LA, there's a program called Get in the Game through the LA Chamber of Commerce. So, what they do is kind of like, so what they do is they have a portal where you can sign up, and then when you sign up, you say, oh, okay, I want to reach someone in procurement, for example, or marketing, and then you have um, a list of consultants. So I'm part of them. There's a list, and then you sign up, and then you schedule a call with me. And then what we do, so basically there is repository of consultants that you can reach out to and then connect with if you have any questions. All right. So before I proceed, any questions that I can answer right now? I'm gonna just pause for a couple minutes. Emily, I can see your hand up. Oh, okay. Well, oh, there you go. Okay. Well, if you're ready, Emily, just feel free to holler, and then I will I'll be happy to
Oh,
answer your
I got
questions. Oh, there you
unmuted. I
go.
got
Oh, no
unmuted.
worries.
Fine. Question on the companies involved in both the FIFA and the Olympics. Is there a
Mhm.
communication mechanism that's being set up to communicate during the events if there's a disaster or emergency? Do you know if there's anything being set up for that? Because I did that for the
Oh,
20,
interesting.
yeah, I did it
Mhm.
for the 2012 Olympics in London,
Uh-huh.
and it was really effective. And I'm just wondering if there's anything going on to talk to all the companies in the neighborhoods of the venues during the
Oh,
events.
you know what? Yeah, that's actually a very interesting question. So those ones are probably like, I don't know if that one of the 12 industries include like emergency preparedness or disaster preparedness. I have to take a look. But for example, I have a company that I was working with, and what they do is they have traffic lights that are off the grid. So then, and then it was actually as a result of the wildfires. But she also said, as an extension also for for like the big events like this, right? So and I connected her directly. Actually, I connected her to Caltrans because that one is like more yeah, like transportation related. But that's a great question. I can take a look at one of the industries and see if that's part of it. But
Okay,
reach
that
out to
would be
me
great.
afterwards.
I
Yeah,
will. I
yeah,
will.
yeah,
Thank you very
yeah.
much. Sorry about my
Yeah, of
legal
course.
problem. Okay.
Oh yeah, no worries. No worries. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, so now, now that we know the landscape and now we know that, oh, there's a lot of different opportunities, right? But then the first question is I ask is, okay, as a business, are you ready for a contract? Are you ready for government procurement? And this is just a very, I would say, very rudimentary list on what it means to be procurement ready, right? So first, I would say in order, like first would be, do you have the financial capability and the stability to be contract ready, right? Because a lot of times, what happens is that these contracts will take about, I would say between 45 to 90 days to get paid, right? So then I have a lot of clients that they get, they're a small business, and then they actually like they respond to the request for proposal, they get it, and now they're like, oh my god, we don't get paid for another 45 days. What's going to happen? So you want to make sure that you do have the financial stability to withstand like the long pay period, right? And then of course there's ways to mitigate it. So like right now, we work with some clients on working capital loans in order to bridge, the need for access to capital from when they get the contract to when they actually get paid. And because what really happens is sometimes like lenders will say, oh, okay, well, you do have the contract. That could be, part of the proof that we need that, that you'll be able to pay your loan back. You'll be able to pay it back, right? So that's part of it. Aside from, I would say, like operationally ready, do you have the staffing and all that stuff, right? So of course that's given, but it's a matter of like, okay, these are just kind of like the major things that I can kind of pick and choose. Are you ready to be able to withstand not getting paid for an X amount of time, right? And then second is that are you be able to highlight your past performance? Because a lot of these government contracts, because these are such high profile events, do you have the past performance in order to be able to prove that that you can handle these big types of events? And if you don't, what people do is then they partner up with a prime, right? Like a big contractor who has gotten the contract, and then they're looking for subcontractors. So that's one way to kind of get into this without being the lead, is to be able to get through as a subcontractor, a vendor. And then also, polishing a capability statement. So, a capability statement is basically a resume for your business. So, if you have a general job resume, a capability statement is basically one for your business. It shows you like what work you've done, your core competencies, and then everything that you would put if your business was trying to get hired for a job, right? And then also compliance documents that are in order. A lot of these jobs, especially if they're connected with the city or an organization, is that they have compliance. Let's say compliance with labor laws, compliance with both labor and then insurance and bonding, especially with construction. So these are just more like high-level checklists on what would contract readiness mean. And then another thing would be certification. So what are certifications? Certifications are basically um, and they're in different categories. So you can be certified if you're an owner of a business. If you're woman owned, you can be certified as a woman owned business. You can be, or if you're a minority, you can be certified as a minority owned business. If you're a small business, then there's a small business certification. And then if you're in LA, there's also something called the local small business certification. So and people say, okay, well, will this help me get jobs, right? Or like work? Well, it really depends. So I would say that if you have, let's say you are able to get a small business certification, and then what happens is that oh, okay. And then what happens with the certification is that um, when they grade your proposal, so a proposal is graded. They're graded like 100%, right? So you do X, let's say your past performance is 40%, so they grade each portion. And let's say you're at 95%, but then you have someone that's at 96%. If you have the certification, if and they don't, that certification may be able to help you bump up maybe 2% higher, so then you can actually get the contract. But but I call it extra credit, right? So if you're from a B, you can't go to an A. However, if you're an A, maybe you can go to an A plus, right? And be able to beat if you're very close to the one that's like first tier. And then another type of certification can also help you get paid faster. So I would say certifications are good, but just because you have a certification, it doesn't really, it doesn't, it doesn't mean that you're going to win the contract, especially if the grading is, if you're far from the first or the second tier, right? It helps you bump up to the next level. Um, Third one is looking at registration portals, and what are those? So some of you may be familiar with them. So there are two of them that I would suggest if you are really interested in looking at procurement, especially for the Olympics, is that you look at two things. One is Ramp LA, and Ramp LA is a procurement portal that is citywide, and then Cal eProcure is a portal that are for jobs within California. And so the good thing about Cal eProcure is that if there are jobs that, let's say in Long Beach and Orange County, they may be listed in this one. And then some other requirements that I see, first of all, is bonding capacity on larger projects. So this is more if you're an engineering firm or a construction firm, and it's very similar to insurance. So bonding is basically, there's one called a performance bond, which basically says like if you don't perform, right? It's basically like you pay into this insurance thing that if you don't perform, the one who hired you may be able to get the money or money back from the bonding. So that one is just some sort of surety and insurance, and then also the normal insurance coverage, and then compliance with labor safety, and then other diversity requirements. Right. So now I'm gonna just pause a little bit and see if anyone has questions on this. Okay. And Sarita, let me know how I'm doing on time. But I
Yeah,
think I'm
you're doing well. Thanks for incorporating the questions in it. But we have about a couple of minutes. I'm not sure how much how much more time you'll need through part
Oh,
three.
okay. Okay, sounds good. So what I'll do is like basically I'm just gonna go kind of power through it, right? So some of them are very I would say common sense, right? So basically, when you're doing valuation, valuation is you increase your valuation when you diversify your revenues. So the way it is that contracts are value drivers. So then when you have these contracts, you get a steady stream of revenues. You get diversified client lists. So let's say before you're going with more. more private companies. So like the fact that you have government and like nonprofit or the Olympics would be diversifying your client mix. And then stability through long-term contracts. Some of these contracts are actually multi-year. So then that means you're going to be having, at least diversity and then stability of contracts for several years. And then also enhance brand equity, right? So something that you can add on your business resume. Oh, it's, you work with FIFA, you work with like the NFL, you work with the Olympics. And then I'm gonna just like, so then that helps with the buyer and investor perspective. So then they see that there's a predictable cash flow. They'll see some type of renewal that you'll be able to leverage. There's a strong compliance record, and then there's a growth potential via the procurement wins. So just a few things, and I think maybe we can just go and I'm just gonna go do this like very quickly. So in order to some very quick strategies is making sure that you find the right opportunities through the portals that I talked about, and then through networking and then looking at procurement events both online and offline. Making sure that you have a capability statement that you can show once you meet with a buyer, right? Whether it's online or offline. And then making sure you have partnerships. A lot of times people say, "Oh, I'm such a small business. How can I take advantage of it? I can't win a big contract." So what you do is, there are some joint ventures that you can do for larger projects, and then subcontracting to build your experience, and then teaming agreement with your prime contractors, which is kind of the same thing with very similar to joint ventures. And then leveraging your past performance, right? So making sure that you highlight the projects that you've done before that are very similar. Yeah, and so with that said, one of the things that I have been doing is that because of all these procurement webinars that I have been doing, and I see two big pain points. One pain point is the funding, and one pain point is getting partners. And so what my solution was to be able to do a mastermind networking group in order for you to meet people that are within those categories. So every month, my inaugural one is actually this Saturday. It's a Procure Partner Connect. So if you are a small business who want to meet other small businesses or medium-sized businesses and be able to see if it's something that you can team up and you find a contract, you can team up and work on them together. This would be a good way for you to meet partners, because your whole goal is to make sure you can vet each other and then be able to find and then respond to RFPs through proposals. And then the first one, the purple one, would be funding partners. So I've been doing this for several years now, both in internationally, but it's also a monthly one. But basically, if you're looking for funding, grants, loans, and stuff like that, access to capital, it's a way to share resources. So I'd be happy to see you if you wanna quickly take a screenshot and then go to the QR code and register. So hopefully I'll see you then. So I'll just give you a few more minutes or a few more seconds to just take a screenshot. And yeah, and then after that, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, email me, or just give me a text, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. So thank you. Okay, should I stop my share?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, that
all right.
was great information. My goodness. And so I look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Yay,
But
great.
to find, because especially the part about the strategy, I'm glad that you highlighted the strategy, because some of those things, that's what I'm involved in right now. As you and I have spoken offline about being a subcontractor for a major project, and and where you were saying, connect with other organizations, the networking, and keeping track of your testimonials, building your track record, making sure you have that financial stability in case it takes a little bit of time to get paid. So all of that was just great information. But I don't need to keep talking. We still have a few more minutes. We have a few more minutes. So if anyone, after processing all of that information, if you have any questions, comments, feel free to raise your hand or open your mic and just ask your
Sarita,
question.
one person that I think would be interesting to hear from is Casey Branch. Casey actually ran a podcast for Global Chamber at the Paris Olympics, and I think, spoke to at least a dozen, right, Casey, people?
Yes,
I presume
correct.
you're going to be quite involved in LA as well.
Yes,
Oh, that's
exactly.
awesome. Mm.
So, Christina, thank you for your presentation. One of the things that was, I ran the LA Olympics in '84, way back in the day, and one of the big aspects of that, as well as in the Paris Olympics, was the sponsorship slash payment program, basically a hybrid sponsorship, whereby these
Mm.
organizations would provide some level of complimentary services or complimentary items, or complimentary building, and then they would also get paid, maybe not 100% on the dollar. But I know, for example, the pool at in Paris was built by a Parisian entity that basically did the pool for half price. And so
Mm.
I wondered whether there's any kind of formal program set up yet for the LA Olympics to deal with these sort of hybrid sponsorships. And when I did it way back in the day, there was a company called Ernst and Winnie, which is now merged with Ernst and Young, thanks to me, because during the Olympics, the head of Ernst and Winnie didn't know the head of Arthur Young, so I introduced the two of them, and that's why today we have Ernst and Young, because I introduced.
Oh.
I get no credit for that, but they were both Olympic sponsors in different areas, and they got paid as a hybrid sponsor. So they provided various services. So I did the result system for the LA Olympics as part of the Ernst and Winnie engagement. And so
Mm.
my query is whether or not they've come up with a program for these kind of hybrid sponsorships yet.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about the hybrid sponsorships, but I know right now they're heavily yeah, they're I would say they're heavily searching for sponsors, right? So but
Yes,
they're like right now they're looking for the ones that can provide millions and millions. So like so
right,
the big ones, yeah.
correct.
Um
So it'd be interesting because that gives certainly the small businesses some ability to say that they're the official pool supplier to the Olympics, or little privileges like that, that
yeah.
give them a leg up, and they're willing to do that. So let's keep an eye
Yeah.
for that kind of program and let us know.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm definitely, yeah, and I can actually check because that's quite interesting. You know, one thing that I do notice though about this is they're really big on the local and then legacy businesses, right? Especially in LA. So they want to make sure that and then legacy businesses are the ones that they consider maybe I think like 10 years or more that they've been in LA. So they really want to give those businesses a chance here anyway. But then you know, the funny thing is that the Olympic venues are actually they're I think they're more numerous. They're more in Long Beach than they are in LA.
Oh
So they're
yes,
they're yeah, so that's why at one point they say, why are we calling it LA Olympics instead of the Long Beach Olympics?
it's LA County we have to look at.
Yeah, exactly.
um,
Yes, yeah. But
yeah,
I know that they have their own thing too about like like so them about making it like making sure that the local like Long Beach businesses are also represented, right? And
right.
then right now I'm also doing some work with like mayor offices that are outside like in Orange County. And
Hmm.
then they're like, well, where's our piece of the pie? So right
Of
now they're
course.
also trying to get also a lot of but they're trying to get more of the ones that are before. For example, for FIFA they're hosting, I think Mission Viejo is hosting groups right now, I think from Amsterdam, a couple of European groups. So
Oh
they're
neat.
yeah, so at least at this point what they're doing is like, hey, you know what, if we can't get them for the actual like game, how about getting them like the practice. So they've been, I think like two groups right now have been in like Mission Viejo, and they've been practicing there. Like, I guess they have like really world-class facilities. So that's really
Yes, they do.
spurring yeah, tourism there as well.
Well,
So
that's great, and that's what it's all about, is reintroducing the world to Los Angeles, because the world hasn't seen the best of LA in the last few years. So
yeah.
and by LA I mean the whole metro region. I mean, during our Olympics we had events all the way down in San Diego and all the way up
Mm,
in Santa Barbara. Plus we had the soccer, football that was basically all over the country. And
Casey,
mm.
this
I
time
don't
we have
mean
what Oklahoma's
I
involved
don't
as
mean to
well.
interrupt, Casey, because we have a couple of other questions and we only have about 3 minutes
So
left.
sorry.
So I want to give the opportunity for the other questions, but thank you so much for your insight, sharing your experience and your query, your question. So Anita?
Not so much a question. First of all, I'm so happy we've got the Olympics back because I was living in Venezuela in '84, so I missed everything. So now I actually get to be here. But as you were talking about some of the, the issues as people become, approved suppliers or vendors for the events, I just wanted to comment that in addition to brokering SBA loans, which are great for more long-term planning because they take a month or two to fund, usually. Um, if inventory is an issue, cash flow, because it is going to be a while before these vendors get paid. One of the types of financing that I broker is inventory financing, i.e. payable financing. So they do require a minimum volume of 2 million a year, but that's still well within the range of most small businesses. And this allows them to get reimbursed when they're making payments to their suppliers up front, but will not be seeing the reimbursement for that or whatever they've sold, for another 30, 60, 90 days. So it's great for anybody dealing with the government, et cetera. And then if people
Okay.
do need to do like very short term, like there's an emergency or an opportunity and they need a chunk of change like now, they can't wait for SBA or anything else, I can get those types of loans funded in 24 to 48 hours.
Okay, make sure I get your contact then. So then I want to be able to give them that the option. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for
I
sharing.
sent you a LinkedIn message to schedule a Zoom call with you.
Oh, perfect. Awesome.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you, Anita. Okay, and
Thank
Professor
you.
Francis?
Yes,
We only
thank
have
you.
about a minute or so.
Yes, yeah,
No
so
problem.
this is the
Very
last
fast.
question, 1 minute.
Yeah, the big pie of the money that is available. Would you know how much of that is federal and how much is state generated from? And I was going to ask a question about short-term bridge loans, but Anita has provided the answer. But where is the money coming from, federally and state-wise?
Oh, you know what? That's really a great question. I'm actually not sure, but what I know that aside from like federal and local, then there's also the World Olympic Committee, right? No, but I will do some research on that one because I'd be curious as well. So once I do, I will reach out to you, unless you find it sooner.
Oh, no. The reason for which I was asking the question is because when you get
We-
into spending
We got to
money
keep
for
moving,
collection
Prof.
of
Sorry.
90
Yeah.
days for small business, very difficult to doing it.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's talk further after this because I'm curious. Yeah, I'm actually curious to see where because yeah, if it's coming from federal, obviously that affects, you know, that affects where the funding would be. Yeah, with the political climate. So.
Great. Thank you so much for the comments and the question. So now I'm going to turn it over to Doug for the remaining time because there are some individuals that are on the call that's going to share some additional opportunities. As I was saying, the whole point of this meetup is what are some of the opportunities that we can all leverage. So Doug, you can take it away.
There are several folks that are set up to give some announcements. And so Wendy and I think I saw Lynn here as well. There's an important event coming up that they're supporting and we're supporting. I think Wendy, are you going to share?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Can you see my screen? So, my name is Wendy and Lynn and my colleagues. We are here representing VABA and VABA Venture. And you see that this is our upcoming event called Pitch Perfect Season 4 Redefined. And we would like to invite your companies to partner with us because we have a lot of partners here, include Global Chamber. So basically, this is the first season that we do pitch event in the US, and then this is the first time we do it in Southern California. So VABA is a network of over 3,000 professionals and companies across 12 states and 8 countries, and we are backed by VABA Venture Capitals, a 50 million fund dedicated to support businesses. This season, we have attract 200 plus entrepreneurs, investors, and business leaders from across industries. And we're gonna select 8 to 10 outstanding startup pitching live with VC, angel investor, and private equity. It's format like Shark Tank, but for the entrepreneurs communities. So I would like to invite all of you, if you want to showcase your product or services in our event, or you just want to like go and see the innovation or want to pitch your companies, connect to us at fabaus.com, or you can just scan the QR code on the screen. It's on September 26th at Hyatt Regency Orange County. So we'd love to connect with all of you in our event.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah.
Thanks for the collaboration as well. One of the people that will likely be there is Tim Randall. I've known Tim for many years. He's a longtime member. More recently, he's partnered with Carolina to work on investments in Poland, and just really impressed, Tim, with what you're doing. Could you just give us a quick update on what you're doing as well?
Yes, we are. Thanks, Doug. As always, your brilliance is showcased at these events. Our firm is working to build a bridge between the Western United States and Poland, and by tangent also Eastern European countries, but primarily Poland. We are going to be heavily involved in the events that are coming up in the next 3 years. I was really dazzled, I have to say, by KC. And KC, I sent you a message. My curiosity, and I want to have a call with you, is how many times you had dinner personally with Peter Uberoff, who saved the Olympics. But it sounds like you were his right-hand man, based on what I heard.
Not quite that close.
But no, but so our firm, if you're interested in doing business in Poland, it's the 6th largest economy in the European Union. It's soon to pass Japan in purchasing power parity as the 3rd largest economy in the world. Great opportunities. I was just there 10 days ago, going back in about 2 weeks, and just incredible opportunities. But so much, I said to Carolina, my business partner, and Doug's heard the story. I'll go quick. That a year and a half ago, I couldn't find Poland on a map, and now I speak the language, not fluently. They haven't kicked me out yet, but we're still learning it. And no one in California or Arizona, for that matter, which you can see, that's where I'm from, knows anything about Poland. So the idea of creating a bridge between the two is very important. So happy to have any conversations with anyone on the call here today. Thanks,
Yeah,
Doug.
I'm not sure showing up in Chase Field with the Diamondbacks is a great idea with a bunch of Dodger and other fans here, but we love you anyway. It's all good. We the next couple minutes we probably have open, Sarita, just either someone I forgot or someone who has something. There's always a chance to just reach out anytime, but does anybody have any members out there that have something they'd like to announce or something they need help with? Eduardo's in the room. He's our advisory board chair for Phoenix, and he is an amazing contact for anything in Mexico, particularly on the manufacturing side. So definitely know Eduardo as a leader. Anita, I'm glad we got to your question, so thank you for that. You and Elizabeth Glenn played a very important role in our export league creation and development here in the Los Angeles chapter. So thank you both for knowing the market here so well, both export and import. And Anita, I think you've got is there a program today, or did we just do it?
Oh, so
Or it's
there's
coming
2
up next
things that
week?
I have coming up. Next Thursday is the Global Chamber Export Import Forum. I am interviewing Demetris Evans. She's an attorney. She's a trade attorney. We're focusing on contracts, what you need to know from an import-export perspective. And then the day before, I'm guest speaking on the Global Chamber Real Estate Roundtable, and I'll be talking about understanding currency exchange for global real estate investing and anybody in the global world doing business cross borders.
Thank you for your leadership. But I'll turn it back over to Sarita. Certainly September 26th with VABA is something that you should all be familiar with now. And if you have any questions, please let us know. If you ever want to, we're doing a better job with the Global Chamber Los Angeles LinkedIn page. There is a group there or it's actually a page, a company page. So go there, and we've started to post local global events that are there. I don't know if the VABA event is there yet, but there are several. There was one today or yesterday with the USTDA. And so we're doing not just global chamber things there, but also others. September 3rd, Sarita, is coming up, and that's our summer social, a little bit late, September 3rd. Don't wear white shoes or white pants or a white skirt. It's too late for that. However, it's not too late to have the summer social in Torrance. Anything you'd like to close with, Sarita?
Well, thank you for mentioning that. I put that again in the chat. So there's the information regarding our end of the summer social, and then we have 2 great speakers, and it's going to be interactive. It is really going to be just a social and opportunity for the Global Chamber Los Angeles members and guests to get together. And so just check out that information, but we will have speakers talking about US-India business opportunities, but it will be interactive. So just check out that link in the chat. And before we leave, again, I have to thank you, Cristina, for that wealth of information, well-organized information, the billions of dollars of opportunities, contract opportunities, and sharing with us the different resources, the resource partners, and strategy for going after some of these contracts. And again, I encourage you, if you are available, Cristina had on one of her slides, one of her events that's starting this Saturday on the 23rd, August 23rd. So if you're able to join, go ahead and join on Saturday. I look forward to attending on Procurement Partners. So thank you so much. And again, we meet every 3rd Thursday of the month. So we look forward to seeing you in September, Global Chamber Los Angeles Meetup.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you.
Thanks, everybody. Go
Thank you.
Diamondbacks? What? No.
Yes.
Mhm.
We're making trades.